Good morning. Good to be together today. Thanks for joining us. And it's always good to be with the people of God. And things are busy. I did want to mention thank you from Faith Baptist Church, maybe some folks from other churches that helped. I don't know, but thank you. What a great Sunday we had. The whole day was a great day. But Sunday we had our victory rally offering, and the first Sunday in November we have a special offering. It's been for building projects. It's been for different things, but mainly around our building. And then in the spring, with March Madness, the college basketball time, we call it March Gladness offering. And end of March, we always have a special offering, just trying to help the work of God go on. Projects, when it's funny, when we had a tent, many of you were not around. There's some pictures here and there, some in our Sunday school foyer. But when we were in our tent, life was rougher, but it was more simple. And we had a tent. Remember Tom Williams was preaching. We had an old orange and white tent. Evangelist Dennis Coral gave us his tent. And we'd been using this rented building. We bought 2.5 acres, and we just had to get something. And so we got permission to use a tent. Brother Coral gave it to us. We put that little tent up, maybe, 40 by 60 or something like that. Filled it up. First Sunday was our 5th anniversary. We had over 700 people there, and it was exciting. People that were baptized all afternoon. We had kind of a homemade carnival going, and fun, just nothing professional, just stuff we did. Throw the ball at the cans and throw the darts at the balloons. But our folks were witnessing, and we had so many visitors. There were people getting saved during the fun time, the carnival time after the preaching. Of course, there were people in the church. We said we're going to have the Wildomar's largest children's choir sing, which was the only children's choir in Wildomar. We only had 1,000 people in Wildomar in those days, but we probably had 150 kids singing in front of the audience in that tent. It was beastly hot. It was so hot that day, and of course the tent radiates the heat, but we baptized throughout the afternoon, multiple people throughout the day, and it was just a great day. But went from that tent we used for a while. I don't know how long. I'm terrible with details, but it was already old, and then it was weathered. This hot Southern California sun beating down on it, and it's a rubberized canvas. But as it got weathered, it cracked, and Tom Williams is preaching. Pretty sure it was Brother Williams, and wind blowing and pouring down rain, and popping the tent with the wind, and a big old chunk of its tent's made of triangular shapes sewn together. Just one chunk of it just ripped off and blew away, and the rain just pouring into the tent, and people just moved their chairs over, and he kept preaching. But it was we passed a plate and bought a new tent. What's the problem? And then that was pretty complex, because we had carpet on the dirt in that tent. Well, we went high tech. We put 2x4s, I think, maybe 2x6s, and covered it with plywood, and then we put indoor outdoor carpet on top of that. Now we were uptown. We had a floor in our tent, and what that did was provide a wonderful, dry, safe home for skunks, and who knows what else lived underneath that thing. And we built a several-tiered choir loft in the corner as a bigger tent, and so we had a 3-tiered, I think it's 3, maybe 4, but I'm thinking 3-tiered choir loft in one corner, and a platform, and it'd be nice during the week, but as soon as Mr. Young, he's been our faithful, taking care of the house of God, and he'd come in on Sunday morning and vacuum in there. Well, that vacuum vibrating, the noise, and the skunks had let loose, and all the skunks had smelled. But it was a simple life. Well, now we've got buildings, and we've got a paved parking lot that needs fixed, and then we've got roofs that leak, and we've got plumbing that needs redone, and all the things. Everything you possess really possesses you. And we've got property. Well, now we got weeds to chop down and grass to mow and all those things. But over the years, it's been a blessing to be a part of the work of God. But Sunday, what a great day, and very generous giving of the people of God to help with some remodeling, just trying to update things and keep stuff sharp. what we do is for God, and it ought to be done well if we're able, as well as we're able to do. And but thank you from Faith Baptist, for your faithfulness. And we've got this Sunday our cowboy breakfast, Roundup Sunday. Come in your cowboy duds if you have any. And at 9 o'clock, all the adult Sunday school classes are meeting together outside for an outdoor breakfast, kind of a potluck, only a potluck breakfast. Now you can bring anything you want to eat, but we're going to spread it out on several buffet tables and have tables and chairs and eat outside. The Spanish department's going to join us, and then Pastor Valdez, our Spanish pastor, and he and I are going to bring a Sunday school lesson together and talk about the great work of reaching the community with the gospel. And so that will be at the 9 o'clock, then 10:30. We'll have dismissed, but 10:30 the English will be in their service, the Spanish will be in their service, and for preaching. But it'll be a good morning. Hope you'll come. And if you can cook, bring something good. If you can't cook, go by Del Taco or Taco Bell and bring a breakfast burrito. Although I think the Spanish department's promised 200 breakfast burritos, so they've already got the breakfast burritos. So bring something else. Hopefully I'll have my stuff down there. A couple of portable stove things, electric skillets. We'll have some eggs and pancakes going, and we'll just have a good time together. And I hope you'll join us. It's a fall program. It's time to invite a visitor. Bring a friend. Say, hey, look, we're having a cowboy breakfast, and bring an ice chest full of steaks. Let's have steak and eggs together. But it'll be a good time. And then the next Sunday, we're going out to the community. We'll have church here. All the adults will be in Sunday school with me in the auditorium, and then the preaching service. But most of our people, at least half our people, are going to be out in the community bringing church to the various areas. And we'll have anywhere from 4 to 10 different church services going on out in the community. And what a joy that is. That's a great thing. We've been doing that for years. What a pleasure to bring the gospel. Just today I was thinking a couple of things about where we are and who we are. And if you missed it, October 22nd, just a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, I was in the Philippines, and I had Brother Mike Johnson come down, dear friend of ours. He just recently retired. He'd spent 40 years in his church. He started Shasta Baptist, and we've been friends from the beginning. I think I've preached in every one of his builds. They rented a Grange Hall for a while, then they shared and rented a Pentecostal church. Pentecostal church used it, and they staggered services. And then there was a storefront they were in. Then there was another church they were in for a while, a church building they bought, and then they moved into a nice new building they built, and I watched him. But what a steady man, just solid as can be. But anyway, Sunday night I asked him to preach on fundamentalism, on our roots, and what a great message. That's October 22nd in the evening service. And if you didn't get to hear it, I encourage you to. It's on audio on our website, or you can go to our Rumble channel, FBC Wildomar, and it's also on YouTube. But I encourage people to use Rumble if they can. They don't censor. And let's build up people that love freedom. And we still, you may be watching this on YouTube. We use it, and I'm not against it. I'm against their censoring things, in which they do, and there's no question about that. But that's to me, it's their business. It's their thing. Let them do what they want with it. It's like me having a grocery store and I don't sell cornflakes. That's my choice, and I'm big on freedom. But Rumble is it's there. You get the video, because he does some acting out of things. But you'd enjoy it. But he preached on the 2 words, the same, and that's the message. But thinking about fundamental versus contemporary, and we of course today, the big thing is the contemporary church, and those are the mega churches. And the contemporary church. And think about the word contemporary for a minute. 2 people. I am a contemporary with whoever, Joe Biden. We're in the same era, the same time frame. And I was, as a young man, able to see John Wooden coach UCLA, one of the most amazing basketball coaches ever. And so these people they're in the same era, the same time period. I'm not a contemporary with George Washington. We're separated by a couple of hundred years. And when we talk about a contemporary church, that means that church is a contemporary. It's come up alongside the world, and they're running their course together. And when you talk about a fundamental church, a fundamental Bible-believing Baptist church, we are light years from the world. There's nothing similar between us. And we are just very, very different. And so I'm a fundamental person. I believe in the old, simple ways, the most basic things that put us together. And I know everybody's different, and that's great. And I love people's right to be different, but I love my heritage. I love my heritage spiritually. I love my two pastors, both in heaven now, both independent Baptist men, good, great guys that taught me and guided me along the way. I love my family heritage. I love my childhood and my parents growing up. And even though there was a split home, I was always very loved, very secure. My stepdad loved me, just literally became a best friend and served in our church, allowed me to be his pastor during the last years of his life. And how could I have a better compliment than that? And we were friends. And I love my family, my parents, my siblings. I love my wife and my kids. I love what I get to do. I love preaching. I love doing this. And I get to teach some. And I love that. I love getting to teach. I teach some in our Christian school. I teach off and on in some Christian colleges. And I love getting to open the Word of God up and talk to people about it. And people have asked me over the years, why don't you start a college? I just don't know if I'm organized enough or together. I would love it. I'd love to teach in a college. If I couldn't pastor, I would love to be able to spend my days teaching young men and young ladies about the things of God. But I love where I am. But I love my fundamental roots. When I first got saved, I got saved on Wednesday, left for college on Saturday. And somewhere in that first couple of months, someone gave me, it was Love Song. Remember the 8-track? Someone gave me an 8-track. I had an 8-track player in my car, like some of you new people that younger people know, because you wouldn't even know what a cassette is, like a CD, and they're out of date. But and it was kind of a rock group, and they were Christian songs, and I played that and maybe some others. But I remember driving along thinking, I remember being at concerts, secular rock concerts that sounded like this. This is what I got saved out of. I'd never heard a sermon, no Bible principles on music. I just thought, I got rid of the music and I got rid of that. And I started drawing toward hymns and Bible-believing type of Christian old-fashioned music. Remember the first time I led singing, I didn't know any hymns. I'm just a young Christian. And this pastor had asked me if I'd like to come help him at his church, a small country church. I said, sure. I was a brand new kid in Bible college. Spent a year and a half in a secular college. Then went to the Bible college. I still didn't know much about hymns or anything. And he said, you can be my song leader. He'd never heard me sing. He wasn't very bright. And I tried, but I didn't know anything about song leading. And I didn't know anything about hymns. But I remember picking up as a green hymnal. And I remember picking up that hymnal, thumbing through, and I found a song about an old-fashioned meeting. It was an old-fashioned meeting in an old-fashioned place where an old-fashioned sinner found some old-fashioned grace. And I picked that out. I think that was the first song I ever led publicly. What drew me to that? Something inside me is fundamental. I want the old ways. I want the old paths. And right here in Jeremiah, chapter 5 and verse 31, he says, the prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means. They're lying preachers, and they've got all this money. Boy, we get a lot of that in America. And he says, my people love to have it so, and what will you do in the end thereof? And when we start talking about where are we going in our faith, consider where we're going to end up. That's a big issue. Where are our children going to end up? That's a big issue. And so I'm a fundamentalist enough that in October of this next year, October 2024, we're having a fundamentalist conference. Lord willing, Pastor Jerry will also be preaching. He's not been at our church before. He's very sick, battling some cancer, but as long as he's well, he's going to be there. Pastor Terry Angel, he'll be there, Pastor Mike Johnson, and we're going to have a fundamental conference. And if it all works out, I'll have a booklet. I'm a fundamentalist that I'm going to hand out to the visiting, if there's some preachers that would visit. And I love being who I am. I'm not embarrassed about it at all. Fundamentals in sports. I could take any basketball player. I played enough sports that I could probably help any high school or college person, probably. I don't know it all, but I know enough. I could help them with their fundamentals. I can't coach a team. I tried it. That's not my thing. But I can coach a player. I could help the guard. I could help the center. I could help different people with their offense, their defense, their shooting, their rebounding. I know enough fundamentals, and we don't have a lot of fundamentals. Not in sports, not in patriotism, not in the home. Fundamental things are slipping away. But I want to, I just thought about this contemporary fundamental difference, and we're not better than anybody, and I don't look down on people. Just not, I'm this and I'm not that. I drive a GM product. My wife's got a Toyota because that's what she wants, and we got ready to buy a car. We're going to buy a new one. We're going to buy her a newer car. And I went to CarMax because they got every kind of car imaginable. I said, go wander around here, wander around. And she tried driving different cars, sitting in it, the visual and all. And she's a little shorter, and I wanted her comfortable. And she picked out a Toyota Avalon. And then it was up to me to search the world for a Toyota Avalon that I could afford. And finally got her one in Pomona or somewhere. But I'm fundamental in my car values, and there's no right or wrong with any of that. But when it comes to music, and again, thank God for freedom. I love freedom. People can do what they want. But if you take the secular music in our world, the rap, the R&B, that kind of a pounding, throbbing music, and the lyrics. I'm not talking about the beat, the sound. There's no melody in that stuff. But you take the lyrics. And look at the words. Google the words, and you'll find the most shallow, empty words. I mean, it would be like second grade vocabulary with a gutter mouth. You take the simplest words and throw in a bunch of filth and smut and shame. The words are shallow, and they remind me of somebody with a poor education or somebody who's never met a thesaurus, who doesn't work to develop richness in their writing. The meter and the rhyme is very elementary, childish, and it's like a C. Jane Run poem, and it's just so elementary and shallow. And then of course there's the vulgar and the lewd that goes along with it. And then you take out a hymnal, and you find hymns and the richness. Compared to a 7-Eleven kind of music, one of our men mentioned 7-Eleven songs, 7 words repeated 11 times. And it's not that those are sinful things, it's just so shallow. It's so elementary. It's all feeling. It just makes me feel so good. Well, how about something that is good in its essence? And you take out a Fanny Crosby, and someday the silver cord will break, and I no more as now shall see, but oh, the joy when I awake within the palace of the King, and I shall see him face to face. Man, the words of the great old hymns, they're rich, they're thoughtful, the meter and the rhyme is well planned and well orchestrated, and the whole thing, the ambiance of the hymns reaches up and grabs the eternal and brings it down and places it in the heart of a man. And now maybe the Christianity of today is so shallow that they're good with C. Jane Run type hymns and calling it worship. It might be. But I hear that music. I was at a church not long ago, and 3 or 4, I was out of town, and 3 or 4 of the hymns they put the words up on the screen. And I've been saved since 1975, and I've been in fundamental Baptist churches all that time. And I know a lot of hymns. I've got a dozen hymnals probably, and I don't know them all, but I know a lot of the old time music. I didn't know one song this guy sang in his church, Independent Baptist Church, not one song. I didn't know one song. And there were lyrics up there. Well, there were no notes. And you're never going to learn harmony. You're never going to learn melody. You're never going to learn to blend with that person next to you. Your children aren't going to grow up here and mama sing soprano and daddy singing bass or tenor. And none of that. None of that. And I love our choir singing parts. I love our teen choir, 7th through 12th grade, 50, 60 young people up there, and they're singing harmony up there. Brother Josh, our youth director, my son, he's got those kids singing harmony, and there'll be a duet harmony solo. Not there's two, it's not a solo, but there'll be a duet in harmony singing the verse, and then the whole youth choir will join for the chorus, and they're hymns, they're rich hymns, and all the depth. And but you know what, and it's not fundamental contemporary is not just music, but that's big. Of course, the beat and the beat is dominant in contemporary music, in most of it, not all of it, but in most of it. But then people in the contemporary world will say, well, you fundamentalists, it's all about the outside. No, it's not at all. It's about the inside reflecting on the outside. But look, you go to McDonald's, you don't see people in Burger King uniforms, and you look at the Lakers, you can tell who they are by just a glance at the court. You know they're purple and gold, and you can tell from pro football teams or look, the outside, the outside matters to everybody. It doesn't matter. You go to a store, most stores, they have some kind of an outside thing to indicate they're an employee. Everything else, they look like a wreck in most stores nowadays. But yeah, the outside matters. Certainly it matters. But don't let this contemporary crowd say, well, you think you're better than us in your suits and your ties. They spend as much money on their holy jeans as we do on our suits. And I'll go to this suit outlet for $110. You get a suit and a shirt and a tie and a pair of socks. And I don't usually get their socks or their shirt because they don't fit right or they don't launder well or whatever. But I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. But I look, the world is spending $100, $200, $300 on their sneakers and $100 and $200 on their jeans that are already holy. And that praise team up there, they spend as much time thinking about their skinny jeans and their tight shirts as a Baptist preacher and song leader would spend on their suit and tie and shirt and shine shoes. Everybody cares about their outside. If we didn't care about our outside, why do we have gym memberships and Mary Kay and Weight Watchers and if we didn't care about the outside, why do we spend money? Of course we care about the outside. We care about our clothes. We care about washing the car and all those things. The outside matters. Our house matters. Homeowner associations, the outside of your house matters. Part of your homeowner association. So don't be getting this nonsense. The outside doesn't matter. It just matters differently to the contemporary than it does the fundamental. And again, let's be sure that we understand nobody's better than anybody. We're all sinners saved by grace. But the fundamental church in whatever book Jeremiah we're looking at, what will you do in the end thereof? To me, the biggest thing is I've watched the end of the fundamental path. And of course, a lot of people get out of church. We're free. We believe in freedom. But those who date careful and marry careful and stay clean, stay separated from the world, guard their television and their media, and keep their eyes and their heart clean, stay away from liquor, stay away from the casinos and the Vegases and the nightclubs, and those who stay clean. And I've watched those who live a life of compromise. And the end is different. And again, there's some wonderful Christians that go to contemporary churches, and there's some worldly people who go to independent fundamental Baptist churches because that's just life. But what will you do in the end thereof? And I'm just going to tell you, we've watched it. We watched it. Mr. Beale's been our principal for over 30 years. He's the statistics person. I'm not. But I've watched it. He's watched it. We've seen in our church and all the lives that are touched and changed when you stay on the old paths. It's the best path to travel. Just live for God. Love Him, walk with Him, and let's stay true to His book.